Okay, good morning. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this session about what we did in Petrol and how we transformed their retail business with cloud analytics in the last 4 years. So this is like a short agenda of today's session. We will do some introductions about who we are, about the companies for maybe 10 minutes. Then mostly Andrea will tell you the story of cloud analytics in Petrol. I will just assist her in a few things. Then she will also do the demo of the data products that they have developed with our support in Petrol. And at the end, we will have like 15 minutes for all the questions that we will have from the audience. So that's us, Andrea, that's me. So Andrea, please make the introduction. So ladies first.
Yes, so welcome everybody. It's obviously still early in the morning because I see that the attendance is not that big yet, but hopefully a few more people will come. So I come from oil and gas retailer from Slovenia, which is, I will later tell you more about this company, but I have quite an extensive history in BI and analytics. So I started my career 25 years ago in SaaS. Then I moved to Telco, where I was heading BI team for Telekom Austria Group, one of the subsidiaries in the region. And after 15 years of Telco, it was time to move further, to go to other industries. And I moved to oil and gas industry, which is, you will later see, Petrol is also a utility company. So it's quite an interesting journey from a very digitalized business to an old traditional old-fashioned business. Also was the challenge in terms of culture, technology, everything. So I really see this as not just data transformation, but also cultural transformation. And we will see also today how the data changes the approach to business and culture.
So yeah, I started my career almost 30 years ago, and I worked in a big bank as a SaaS developer, not like a software as a service, but SaaS, this big US analytical company. And then I had some few management positions in different companies. And actually with 2 partners, then we started our own company some 20 years ago. And basically we are a consulting solution company in the area of data and analytics. And we work with Andrea for quite a long time.
So I said Petrol. Petrol is actually a Slovenian company, but it's not just one company. It's actually a group, which is more than 40 companies in the group. It's actually leading Slovenian energy company. It started as an oil and gas reseller, but then moved also to other lines of business, selling electricity, trading electricity. We are also now have our own electricity production. We operate a couple of windmill fields in Croatia. So we are very much into the renewable energy. We also have projects where we offer energy project when you can do smart cities, smart homes, and it's also part of it. It's also some financial services. So Petrol in Slovenia is, I would say, quite a big company, also quite a big group. We have over 6,000 employees and more than 300 points of sales. So it's a quite extensive retail network. And in terms of annual turnover, we are the largest company and group in Slovenia. So actually we have annual turnover of 5 billion euros. So it's quite a big group, but still, as I said, a traditional business and quite a challenge to change and operate on the markets. The markets or dominant markets are all the markets of ex-Yugoslavia, so this Balkan region, but we also do our trading and also do business with the neighboring countries.
So maybe I should add, so Petrol is not like the largest company in Slovenia, it's largest in all ex-Yugoslavia region. And what I think also what Andrea and I have discussed, so actually their business will be changing.
Yeah, so I will add this later.
Okay. Okay. So A few words about poslovna inteligencija. So poslovna inteligencija actually means business intelligence in Croatian. And we also have another brand that we are using currently in UK and US and Scandinavia and DACH region. It's called Bird Consulting. So maybe soon in the future we will rebrand completely the company to Bird Consulting, and we are actually a solution company delivering analytical and data management and data privacy solution to our customers worldwide. We have almost 200 employees. We delivered more than 250 projects globally. Also recently, we have very successful product for data privacy that we carved out in a separate company recently. This product is covered by Gartner and Forrester, so we are also becoming a bit software company. And the last thing that is maybe interesting about us, we are having our own startup incubator that is aimed to artificial intelligence and advanced analytics projects in Zagreb. We have many teams from all around the world in this incubator. So if you have a good startup idea for an AI-based product, or if you know somebody who would like to develop it and needs the support in early phases, you're always welcome to contact us. And also we have a really amazing network of mentors, and we are investing quite a lot and getting back to the community. Regarding our cooperation between Petrol Group and Poslovna inteligencija, so we started to work together in this area back in 2017, when actually Andrea joined the company from her previous position in telco, and actually she was leading this transformation and forming the team, and we were actually supporting them with services and our data models and solutions to make this transition easy and possible. And one especially important thing that we will talk about today is actually our retail data model for data warehouse that is used very extensively by Petrol in their cloud analytics.
Okay, so as said, Dražen mentioned before, it's an traditionally oil and gas company, but we know that our business is transforming. We know that industry is changing. So Petrol is a company with dominant, where reselling of oil and gas is dominant part of business. We'll need to transform. Otherwise, we will in somehow 2030 completely vanish from the market. So this transformation started already in 2016, where our management board realized that we need to change the way how we are doing business, that the economy is changing, and that, of course, in order to be able to change this, we also need to play more with data. So the data is a valuable asset, especially because in the lines of new and existing business, we will be handling the same customers. We will be actually reaching out to the same customers. They will just be refueling with a different kind of energy in a different way. So in 2017, then the new strategic initiative has been launched. So the entire BI department is established. That was previously a reporting team part of IT. Currently, BI is not a part of IT. In my previous position in Telco, BI was also not part of IT, because I strongly believe, and this is something that I learned while working for SaaS, that BI should be business driven, that technology is not the one that is dominant. Technology is enabler of all the things that you can do with data, but it should be business driven. And this is then the same approach that we started when I came to Petrol. So we did a maturity assessment, and of course, based on this, we were quite poorly evaluated on the technology, on the content, on the governance, on the people and processes. We were really poorly scored. There was only a vision that we needed to change. Without that vision, the data could be used much more extensively. With that vision, we'd probably not be where we are today. So we then prepared the BI strategy, on all these milestones, what needed to be done. And this strategy was then, of course, confirmed by our management board. What was our reporting architecture in 2017? Wow, there was one huge mainframe. There was the data in the position of accelerator to push the data faster to the Cognos server. And there was desktop that were actually going to this data on a Cognos server. And there, of course, there was a mess of Excel that were floating around this company. And go back to my previous presentation means that Petrol had 6,000 employees, more than 40 businesses, 40 companies, and all this was architectured in a way like this. Luckily, the oil is driving the business, is bringing the money. So there was no need to go further into data. And without this need to transform, without this vision, we'll probably be still running the business in the same way today. And of course, the output of all this were printed reports in Word. Every month, that we would be killing trees in order to produce tons of paper, for management board or for managers, to actually see the data. And of course, there was always the question, not about what's happening, with our business, but who has the right data? Because with all this population and information floating around in Excel, it was always the question, who has the right data? So what we did with our BI strategies? So it was the first, of course, the foundation. We needed to know where we are standing today. So of course you can play with some sexy tools and do some predictions and do some machine learning. But if you don't know where we are standing today, how good will this prediction be? So basically we first needed to set a foundation to be able to understand, what's driving our business, how we are performing in this business. And we did build this corporate analytical platform, so corporate data warehouse, for all the companies in the group. So this is a corporate platform. It's a company is just a dimension. So we did a very strong governance to understand, what's driving our business, where are the revenues coming from, what are the main dimensions, and how we did it, I will show you later. We set corporate reporting standards, so not that every table looks differently, and when you get the report, the management needs 10 minutes to understand what actually he's looking at, because I strongly believe that managers, it should be, information should be like storytelling. It should not be, hard to get, it should not be hard to read, it should be self-explanatory. And of course, then we enable, and for the next vision was that, as I told you, 6,000 employees, we need to enable self-service. We are not able to cover everybody and to help everybody. We should be able, that business should reach for the data themselves and then play with it. And of course, to build also this analytical competence center, as I told you, I believe that BI should be business-driven, should not be IT-driven. In order to be business-driven, we need to understand business needs, processes. We need to be the one to help business monetize the data, because this is our knowledge. We have skills to understand the data, but we also need to understand the business in order to combine these two together. And what we said, so the first vision was to understand actually where we are standing today, to enable this automated reporting, set standards, to be able to understand our KPIs, to be able to understand what's happening to us, whether there are some factors that are coming from outside, what's competition doing, how the growing competition is impacting our business, how the growing trends in mobility are impacting our business, how Corona affected us, because if people are not moving around, we are not earning money. This is fact. And of course, then to be able to predict what we can do with all this knowledge, then how we can change the behavior, how we can sell more, how we can optimize our logistics, how we can optimize our purchasing paths. And of course, then there comes the perspective, how to make it happen. And now in this journey, we are now able to cover all these steps. So we started 2017 for the entire corporation, so all the companies, and today we are able to support all these questions from one single competence center in Slovenia and Ljubljana. So the main task was, of course, processes responsibility. So how we will do it? When I came, there was a team of 4 people. And of course, we need to decide what we will do. What is our priority? So we said, of course, we needed the right architecture, look at the tools, what we have, what are the existing competencies. We will not focus on programming, on ETLing in-house. We will outsource this, but in order to do that, to enable ourselves to cooperate with partners like Petrol Intelligentsia, maybe also some others, we need a clear developing standards. We need naming conventions. We need development framework that we are able to connect to our models, to our platforms, outside partners. So this was part of the architecture that we did. So what will be the architecture, how we will develop, what are the rules for development, and then the content, what will we do? So what will be the first priorities? What do we want? Which data do we want to track? Which data is important to us? So this is then a team of business analysts and reporting specialists. So my people are not focusing on ETLing. My people are focusing on translating the needs of business into specifications that then Dražen and his team are doing the ETLing. And I have business partners in BI that are a mix of business and technology, and they understand the data and they understand the business. They're dedicated to business units, and then they translate further this knowledge to local analysts in local teams. This is how we ensure also the governance. Because it's not, as I said, it's not that the data is in, but what data is in. This is important. And then, of course, it's also important to understand what's happening on the market, because we are not just looking at ourselves, we are looking at what's happening on the market. So we need a customer view, we need competition view, we need the trends. So we also formed a small team of market analysis that we are doing also this, that we are testing the solutions, that we are bringing this feedback of customers into our systems, that we are measuring the feedback loop, that we are doing the evaluations, and all this is also written back in analytical systems. And then, of course, the advanced analytics team, where also you have the team of central data scientists, because this can then be monetized further. If you are doing one model, I don't know, for logistics, you can replicate probably with slight modification the same model for purchasing. And you can do this time series model for distant heatings. You can also do it for trading, that is the same time series apply. So we have this central competence team who is then responsible to set the standards, to bring the data in, to develop the models, and then is consulting business units with how to use it and how to play with the data. And as I said, it's very important that we cooperate with partners. For the entire Petrol group, we have now a team of 15 people in BI, so it's only 15 of us. Yes, it's 15 of us, but we cooperate with 3 strong partners, Petrol Intelligentsia being the biggest one, but we are able also to cooperate with others because we have very good development framework and all the guidelines how to do it. So we have a clear responsibility. This is something we did. So what is the role of business analyst, how we collect requirements, what is the user requirement, when is it good enough that it can be given to a partner, that partner understands what we need, that we together develop a functional specification. This is then again confirmed by my business analysts, and then the development itself. And the development itself, of course, then takes much longer. It's only the great part. It's only the great part here, but all this is preparing a very good user requirement specification. This is then the development part, the part that we pay to our partners, and then, of course, is putting it in production and using it in monetizing it. And architecture, as I said, remember the first picture, there was one mainframe and there was a Cognos server and a TDWI accelerator in between. In 2018, we moved entire analytics to cloud. We were brave enough. It was quite fear of everybody in the state, are you brave enough to move all your data to cloud? Without these legacy solutions, and the dates have been at the time end of life, we said we will not go to some legacy services. We decided for something modern, new, fast, and because we are not part of IT, we are not attached to technology, we've decided to go to Snowflake, and we are now for quite some years already entirely in cloud. So it's about collecting the system. It's about how we stream the data, how we do loading the data, transforming the data. We are doing some streaming. We are doing, there are some locally built solutions, how to make this also ETL frameworks that we are much faster. Then it's all this orchestration part where we have the data stage, where we have also the QRadar that IT can collect the logs from Snowflake because of the local legislation, because we know that in cloud there's only 1 year of log kept but we needed 5 years for the legislation. So it's all very much connected. And of course, this is the part that business then see. Business only sees this part. It's like, if you turn it around, it would be like an iceberg. Yeah. Everything that we do is here under the water. Yeah. Business only sees this top part. But this part is very important. It should work, it should play, because then the outcomes are good on this side. And of course, we also built a data lake below, where all this outside information, enrichment of information from competition, from some external sources, time series also is floating in. And then when modeling, the data scientists collect the structured data or the clean data about customers, about our performance. Then around this data, then they build the models and enrich it with the data, because it's important that we also know, if we want to predict churn of our customers, we need to know who our customers are. If you want to build the value, you need to know what is the margin that customer generates. It should be something not coming from data scientists, from a free source, but it should come from an orchestrated source, because we need the proof that this actually works. And then, of course, it can be enriched with all the social media data, with the competitive pricing data. It can be enriched, and this goes directly to data lake. And then this is combination. And also on this side, we are going to also analytical side. We said we had at the time, we had Cognos server on-prem. We are still using that one, but all the other analytical tools, we are already in cloud. So we are using Power BI, Tableau in cloud. We are using Databricks platform. So it's the entire analytical stack is in cloud. And of course, you will later see all the reports are published on SharePoint. There's nothing is sent by mail anymore. There is a complete orchestration that everything that we do that is standardized is published on SharePoint, on a reporting portal. Everybody can see it. Then the question is whether they have access to data. Depends on their authorization and the rights they have. So you're not hiding anything. Then how we did it? How was the cleaning part going? So 2017. Thousands of Excels. We went around the company and we analyzed 2,500 reports to understand what are the dimensions and what are the KPIs and what are the measures that we will need to collect. And of course, this is the dirty part. Nobody wants to do it. Everybody wants to put the data to data lake, and then you play with data and you have a mess. And then you will go back, because whomever I discussed to, they said, but this is the dirty cleaning part. It takes time. It takes time, and it takes engagement from business, because then the dimensions are their responsibility. What are the attributes of the petrol station, whether they are highway, whether they are city stations, whether they are, I don't know, marine stations. This is not coming from me. This is coming from business. They need to flag these stations, and the quality of data depends on them, because it's their network. And this was important, that we also gave commitment to them. Whether if they want good data, they will need to participate in this part. So it was quite an extensive cleaning process to understand what are the main areas that we will need to build and clean. And this is something that is never finished, because the business is live, is moving, is growing. We are adding things, but the central part is built. And of course, the more you give to business, the more they want. And of course, I believe we have quite happy customers. You will see the facts later. When we did this cleaning, we discovered that we have 7 different definitions of margins in the company. One was marketing definitions, one was controlling definition. This was official one, because based on this, we report our results to the supervisory board, we report to the financial public, and this one should be the same one. But if you sum up together the marketing one and I don't know, the sales one, they would never be the same. So we need to understand, we need to publish the data dictionary, we need to publish all this in order to be able to understand what you're looking at. There can still be sales calculation definition of margin, of course, because it's completely different topic, but it's not margin, it's sales margin. So we should understand what we are talking about when looking at data. So this was the dirty part. We did it. We found what are the main definitions. Then we looked around and said, Petrol is so huge. Petrol is so huge that this is then the documentation. So everything is documented. And I said, we are cooperating with several vendors, depending on the speciality they have. Also, because we are so big, we decided we do not want to be just committed to one, because this also gives us certain freedom, cost-wise as well. And on the other side, what is important is that we when did this, we said, what are the priorities? So we said, first thing, we need to understand how our core business is performing. This is where the money is. So we need to understand the sales part, the transaction part, the customer part. Then to that, we added the utility part, we added the new business part, the charging stations and everything that goes back. But still, it's the same product structure. We have one product dimension. We are then just adding product lines to it. We have one organization dimension. We are just adding new companies that we bought. We just recently bought another oil reseller in Croatia. It took us 3 months to integrate the entire data about the performance of that company for 5 years back in Analytics. 3 months after we started with integration, our business had all the analytics in the existing dashboard. They would just click. But because the model is built in the way, that we are able to understand our data that way, and we are adding them. So we said, okay, the most important was product, was customer, was transactions. Then we added the financial part, we added the risk part, we added the logistic part, we added the supplier part in order to understand where the business is going. But all the lines of business, they need the same. Somewhere certain lines are a bit empty because probably in retail you don't have a contract because you just go and you have just a transaction. But if you're a loyalty card, we know who you are. So loyalty part was built in. So this is how we then we are growing this. And of course, we are so big and so diverse, we couldn't go there and buy, I don't know, a retail model, where your retail model doesn't have utility part. But retail model has certain dimensions, certain libraries that we didn't need to reinvent ourselves. So there is part about supplier, about logistics, about e-shop that we didn't need to reinvent on ourselves because it was already existing as part of the retail model. So we just took that part and integrated it in our model.
So yeah, maybe I can tell you a few more words about the model itself. We actually have 4 different models. Retail model is one of those models. We have models for telco, banking, and insurance also. And those models have some common subject areas that are shared between all the industries, and other subject areas are specific for each industry. So this retail and distribution model covers everything from ordering from your suppliers, deliveries, invoices, warehouse stock.
Call center, loyalty campaigning.
Yes. Call center, loyalty program, marketing campaigns, market shares, also sales development, visits to points of sale, taking out the competitors' prices, all the stuff that is important in retail, and it actually covers a lot of things that are from one side common for the business, and for other side are very common for all the retail operations. So it has also financial part, invoicing, collection, deliveries, everything. Also detailed sales analytics, market basket analytics, profitability by point of sale, by product, by customer. So it's very, very detailed, and basically we are very happy to see how Petrol is using this model. So they're not using it, okay, we will just use it and implement everything as is. So they're just going subject area by subject area when they need it, and they use it as a blueprint and the best practice. They take what they need, they combine with existing entities that they have, and actually they can roll out those solutions very fast. One thing also that is important, it also has this subject area that is related to data privacy and e-commerce. So more and more stuff is also in Petrol related to those digital areas, and all this is properly handled and covered within the model.
So what he said, yes, so for us benefits, when we started doing this analysis of user requirements, we don't need to go from the scratch. When we go to e-shop, to e-commerce, we take these libraries, we take these tables from the model, we sit with business that this is the area that we will populate. Do you need anything else? So we just do the gap analysis, and then we are much faster in rolling out. So majority of modeling is already done, we are much faster. And of course, it's also, for us, it's important that we didn't need to implement the entire model, and we will focus on putting all the data in the model that there is, but we can use it area by area, and just adding it to the model is like playing with Lego blocks. So today we will add this area, that area. It comes with the need of business, and then it's much easier also then to develop it further on, because it's not closed. You can grow it, you can change it, and together with Dražen we are doing just that. So it says like it's a series of sort of description. So it's not so deeply normalized that you would need to go to I don't know which fourth or fifth level of normalization, but it's on the level 3, which gives us also certain flexibility.
So maybe just a few details. So what we are using something that's called hybrid slowly changing dimensions, and it's long time ago it was known as hybrid, but now it's that there's like 3 types of slowly changing dimensions. What we are using is something that's called type 6, with actually relationship tables and history tables for different important attributes to keep all the history. And it's a kind of way of modeling that is a transition between standard in-mon schema and data vault. And so we really worked a lot to establish the real architecture for large amounts of data, and this proved for us as the best option. So if you're interested more in this technological part, I can explain later after the presentation. Or
so a few facts about this. So today we have our data warehouse is 1 tera, including time travel of 60 days and audit with 1 year. So it's quite big. We have 175 dimensions, 87 facts, 1,300 ETL steps that takes approximately 4.5 hours to upload during the night. And some of them are also uploading during the day, because of course there's always a need for certain almost near real-time analytics. And we are also doing that. We have already 40 plus machine learning models, so advanced analytic models. We are also developing video analytics. I want to be able to see what is the actual throughput of capture rate on our highways. How many we know the traffic is still growing, especially the transportation, and we actually want to see whether our sales is growing in accordance to the trends in the transportation. And what is the most important, and this is the most important part for me, is that we have more than 1,300 active users of reports. So it's not that we build this temple, this church, but it's important, these people are actually using it and they're happy, satisfied. So it's not that we will just monitor how happy our users on the markets are, but we are here in service of our internal customers of business. And of course, we want them to be happy, because with this, we are growing the value of our business. This is just a picture of our reporting portal. You will later see. It's not just a portal. It also has a lot of information itself, what are the dimensions, what are the definitions, that everybody in the corporation goes to this portal, and then people can see all these inputs. It's for business, it's not self-explanatory that they know, how is the organization structured, how they read the data. They should be informed about it. So if somebody new comes to the company, we first give them this lesson of what business is in and what KPIs we are following and how they are structured, and how the organization works, what is the product catalog. As I said, 5 lines of business, somehow they always interconnect, and we need to understand what they have impact on one another. And of course, it's also then as we are centrally located in Ljubljana and we cover all the businesses in the area, we of course have also this very easy way, contact us. You want a new report, how will we design your report? And we also do regular trainings for business. When the new reports are on, here's also a news part. here is also a news part where we publish what are the new reports, what are the changes we developed. There's a change in product structure, product dimension. You know where do you find it in which reports, and how this changes the view in the reports. So we are very interactive also with business. As I said, we need to market ourselves internally, because in this way we will sell the data as a product.
Yeah. So before the actual demo of some of the system capabilities and features and data products, I just want to make like a short summary from our side as vendors and partners. So we are working like for 20 years with many customers in our region and worldwide. And we consider this one of the most successful cooperation that they ever had. And I think there are like four important things for this. First one is to have a clear vision. This is something that Andrea brought to Petrol from her previous position in A1 Group that is actually a big telco operator and quite advanced with all the predictive models and everything. So the vision, it was very clear to transform the business and to actually not only make this digital transformation and data-driven company, but also transition from gas stations to new renewable energy sources. So this initial vision was very clear, and we were just following this vision. So the second part is a team. So this team is actually very interesting, and I think it's amazing that for a 5 billion euro company, they have a team of 15 people and that team is doing the all analytics, and they managed to do everything and to create some great stuff. And this team is like a combination of senators from that are in the company for 20-25 years, and some really great new young data scientists. So I remember like back in 2004, maybe, or 2005, I was installing Cognos server on Linux in Ljubljana, in Petrol, and that was like first Cognos installation on Linux in the whole region. And I remember Sandy and colleagues from that time, and it was like time travel, not being in 2004, it was like back in the 80s. And they really were very traditional organization, and the way how they have transformed in this process is really amazing.
Yes, I should add here that Sandy is now, this Sandy in 2004, he's now a team manager of my business analyst team, because his benefit is that he knows the business. He's been in the company, he knows the business, he knows everything, he knows the data he knows how business runs, he knows the processes. So he's the best translator, in order where to collect the data and how to show it in the reports. So he's the best. And around him, about his traditional knowledge and his skills, we build a team of young generation. So it's important to keep the tradition, but to renew it with the skills and knowledge from other industries from outside.
So third success factor is architecture. So go back in time for like 4.5 years, January, February 2018. And imagine oil and gas and utility, old-fashioned traditional company deciding to put all their analytics in the cloud. So now it's normal. So all our global customers, they are doing only cloud analytics for new projects. But in our region, most of the companies are still locked on-prem, and they are now just thinking about cloud analytics strategies. So they were like 5 years ahead of time. They didn't risk anything. They didn't do any gambling or anything. They just listened and looked where the market was going, and they made the right decision at the right time. And it was a very, I think, brave decision at that point. But from us, so for 5-6 years, we are trying to explain our customers in the region that cloud is the future and they should move to cloud. But they decide that on their own. And basically, when we start working, they said, okay, we will do this Snowflake in the cloud. That will be the architecture. And we said, wow, that's amazing.
No, we did proof of concept before. We didn't just jump. Yeah, we did the proof of concept. We did the proof of concept. We tested what was the solution that the existing vendor had. And the problem was that with this traditional business, Petrol only had knowledge and skills from the IBM side. So there was no Exadata knowledge. There was no Microsoft knowledge. It was only IBM. And we, at the time, an IBM announced that data will be end of life. So what should we do? Build entire new stack, everything on products end of life. The HDB was not developed at the time. So what to do then? Either to hire 2 or 3 more people in IT with the skills or some other technology, to buy a new server, put it in the basement and build everything around it. Or we said, let's test. The cloud is coming in, the big players like Amazon, Google, they're already in cloud. If they're in cloud with their millions of transactions, billions of transactions and millions of money, what should we be afraid of? And I spoke to the management board and they said, this is your competence, you decide, you are brave enough, we will trust you. We sat together with the compliance team, with the legal team, with the IT security team. We checked all the contracts. We had a huge discussion with Snowflake and everybody was content and we moved. A year later, insurance company came and said, yeah, but legally, our legal department, compliance department said, everything works with us. It works perfectly, everybody's happy. And also being one of the first in the region also gave us a very good opportunity to also introduce to Snowflake our needs, some of the needs. I have a very good architect who's also part of development team in Snowflake. So we also grew together with them. It was also a very good initiative. And what I should also add here is that when we started, we were on Amazon, we were on AWS cloud. And then suddenly in 2018, end of 2018, Petrol decided to go to Azure, to Microsoft, to start using Salesforce and Office 365. And they said it would be great. Microsoft said it would be great if you could also, move to Azure, the Snowflake part. We did the migration in 3 months. So it was a really a success story. We are quite happy with what it is, and also the partners. We did it together also with you. It was not a big burden to do it. But,
so, and the fourth key to success is governance. So to have everything defined, governed, documented with all the roles, with all the responsibilities, and very, very good cooperation with all the business department. And basically, this is like a key to success. You wanted to say something?
Yeah, about the governance. If you are doing projects like this, it's important that you sit together with controlling, because at the end of the day, they are the ones who are the top authority in what you report and how are the definitions set. Controlling, unfortunately, many companies is still a financial function. It should be more towards business, but it's financial function. It is financial function, but it should also be the interpreter of financial results to business. And it was a long journey. We did it with them. I will show you later, how we also digitalized them through this process. And they are the ones who are the gatekeeper of the definitions, and you need to include them in such transformation, because you know how you calculate the margin, how you count the customers, how you count the tons and liters of products, what are the factors that you change from liters to kilowatts. It's everything there. It is their story, and you need to put this governance, you know, together with controlling. Otherwise, you will never have a successful implementation, because there many truths will come from many sides. Yeah.
And what I wanted also to say about the success, so we are really working together for many years, and actually we already mentioned that Petrol is a traditional company. So what I think this success really is that through this department and through this system and through this collaboration, we are actually transforming and changing the whole company and the way it behaves and the way it runs the business. So we are constantly discussing about new stuff, about where the data office should be established, and about what other stuff should be done to transform the controlling, what are other new technologies or new solutions that can be implemented, and everything is actually interconnected. And I think the biggest problem Andrea has is that within the company, they're always giving her some new stuff. Okay, please, can you help with controlling department in this intermediate phase because we are having new director? Can you help us with defining strategy for digital transformation? Can you help us with the pricing tools? But actually, this team and this system and this whole vision became the vision of the transformation of the whole company. And when you are able to do this with like a small team of 15 people and 2 or 3 partners, so our team that is working for Petrol is also not very big. It's 4 people. So it's not like hundreds of people, but with such a small team, with such a strong vision, if you can change like the biggest company in the whole region, I think that's amazing success.
Okay, good. So for some of you, this will seem basic, but remember when we were 4.5 years ago, and then what we did, there's a small demo, I will speed it up, because it says, okay, there's a company intranet, and on this company intranet, you have a link to this reporting portal. On the reporting portal, you have all the reports published, so it's all official, we are not hiding anything. If you click on the report, you don't have access, the report will tell you, sorry, you don't have authorization, contact your manager, and if a manager approves, you will be authorized to look at the data. We have a row security, so it doesn't matter, you will not see the entire report, but it's row security based. You might only see your product line, or only see your organization. So it depends on what the data is. This is a standard report, so you can just click the dimensions and scenarios and values on what you want to see. And of course, then you can drill down also into the detail of to the single product or to the single organizational unit that you want to see. In our case here probably would be the petrol station, depending which country you selected, or you can see the entire group. You can also say, I want to see the consolidated view, or I want to see the single country view. Why is important consolidated? Because we sell goods among each other. So Petrol Ljubljana sells the goods to Petrol Zagreb, and if you want to see the consolidated view, you need to exclude this internal sales. So it's very important that you know what you're looking at, and we are also doing regular trainings, to train the business how to go through these reports. In this way, we don't need 1,000 analysts, to do this. We just need very good standard reports, and of course, then possibility to then export this to Excel. I like Excel a lot. I think it's a very good business tool, because business comes from universities, comes from whatever lines of business with the knowledge of Excel. But the important is, where is the data coming to Excel? Where from? Is it coming from certain queries in IT or from certain self-discovery procedures, or it's coming from a structured system, and then you play and then you do decision making. So this is important part. So this was the first demo, and then, as I said, we could not say, okay, this is just structured. We also enable self-service. So this part, the structured part, is done still in Cognos. We will replace it slowly, but Cognos offers certain functionality. People that I inherited, they have the Cognos competence. We needed to utilize this, and now Power BI is already becoming more developed. We will move slowly to Power BI, but we cannot wait for technology to mature. We needed to monetize what we had in the company. With self-service, they can do their own reports. Again, it's freedom to choose more dimensions, to go deeper into the data, and of course, then export it to Excel. We sit together with them. We know from their needs what actually they want to look at, and we give them certain flexibility that they click their own reports, still in old on-prem technology, but it gives us time to play with the new and sexy stuff instead of doing ad hoc reporting. And then you get this, and then you go deeper, you add another dimension, or you go even deeper to the level of single petrol station. Depends what view and what level you want to see. So, and then you go even deeper into the products, and you see per the entire, probably your sales retail portfolio, what you are selling.
So she started to present some pretty standard and usual stuff, and now we will come soon to
yes,
the
but imagine,
stuff.
As I said, 4 years ago, it was printed in paper in this population of Excel. I believe in your companies, there is still many Excels floating around, and still you are trying and dealing with this ad hoc reporting. It's everywhere, you know. As I present on other conferences, people always come to me and ask, how long did it take for you to do this? It's a project. It's not one-time activity. It's a project, you know. And when I joined Petrol, I had a discussion management. I told them, you know, it will not be done in 3 months. It will take time. It's a strategic initiative. It changes the way that business is doing. Will be done in the future. You cannot expect me to do sexy dashboards in 3 months. It will be just surface. We need to restructure the foundation. And then it's the self-service, and then of course there are the sexy dashboards now in Power BI. This is what management gets. Every management has on their mobiles. They just click, you know, they go in the morning to the Power BI app. They see all the overview transactions on B2C per companies, per, you know, how many liters or tons are sold, what are the number of transactions on in each country in sales network. They go deeper. They see the switch between fuel invoices and retail invoices. So they see what are the most important B2B customers. So this is then done or last week or current week or whatever. So management in the morning, they just go to app and they have all the data in their hand. So digitalization of controlling, this was 4 years ago. This was still live in October. Then management said last year, you know, in April, they said, we will never change the mindset in controlling. You should take over. So I, from business with IT background, I'm now a year and a half the director of controlling as well. I will hand it over. I'm not a financial person. I hate, you know, all these financial terms, but it's important to have the knowledge what their needs are. And today controlling is this. So every 15th in the month, management gets link with a notification. We announce you that the realization for month April in Tableau is available on this link. Click and they go and they have the P&L on every dimension. They just click and they have the P&L here. So no more paper. And they can go and check either the group, either the company, either the year, the month, year to date, current month, whatever. So no more paper. We are very environmentally friendly now, so renewable. And customer segmentation. Of course, what I said, this transformation is going on. Important is that we are aware that either with the retail, but still retail means that we are having majority of transactional customers. So you come, you refuel, you go. If there's an interesting loyalty program, you will show your loyalty card and we will know what transactions you did. So still around 50% of transactions are unknown. We don't know who behind this. But going to utility business, we will have a contract with all these customers. So Petrol currently has a dominant market share in Slovenia. We know that approximately 60% of inhabitants, they are our customers. And if we want to keep them as our customers on utility, we need to combine these two businesses. So it's very important to understand, what is their behavior, who are these customers at the end of the day, how business can address them, how we can do bundling, how we can combine these two businesses. Because today, refueling is you go to the petrol station, you refuel. Tomorrow it will be you will refuel, you will recharge your car at home or where you will be located. Home, office, maybe 30%, 15% at the moment, while in somewhere in transit. So looking at our network of more than 600 petrol stations, how many of them will still be in use in 2035? Those that are in somewhere on this transport roads. All city locations, how many petrol stations are downtown where you are going for lunch? They are all somewhere in the suburbs. What will be their function in the future? How we will keep the revenue and customers? So we need to combine what we know about customers today. We need to log them somehow to our network, to the new services, and it's all about customer. So what we did together with business was that we wanted to understand the customers, and now I will need to go out of the presentation mode because this embedded Power BI doesn't work in. What now? Okay, so what we needed, you try and get me out and I will explain. What we needed to do, so we did the customer segmentation to understand, first we did in our customer base to see what are the usage patterns of these customers. Those who have loyalty programs, those who already have our electricity contracts, to be able to understand, how this business, okay. We'll try again. This is Microsoft. So what we did a segmentation inside in our user profiles to understand, what these customers actually are doing and what are the profiles. And then with these characteristics, we did market research. So we now know what are the motives of the customers, what is the lifestyle, and we know how to connect them to our existing customers. So we know what we have now in our customer base. Okay. So this is now we have demography, we have age, we know exactly how many certain customer segments, those who are the traditional parents, for example, these are traditional parents, how many of those have our customer base, what revenue they bring us, and what services they are using. So we go then into usage segmentation, and we exactly see, that these personas in our customer base, they are using these and these services. I cannot show you the actual figures, but I can show you that, for example, active mother and father on the way. So they are mainly customers who use mostly certain things and tralala. So we know exactly what they are using. And we have 3-level segmentations that we first go and say, okay, are they using just petrol, or they also have contract electricity? Do they have e-cars, or they are just using also things from our retail network? And then what deep inside they are also using. So every customer has 3-level segmentation flag. And then imagine this power when you are designing products, when you're thinking about bundling, when you're thinking about, because we are addressing the same customers with all industries that we do, with all business we do, we are addressing the same customers. And we gave them this tool now to business that they're able to do campaigning, cross and upselling, product design, everything. What I didn't mention is that when implementing market research team, because we have a loyalty program, we also have 600,000 people with our loyalty cards. Not everybody is using them daily, but there are some 60% of them are active. What is important is that we also, we did a community of them, and we have our research panel where we contact them monthly with questions from business. And they're very active because they collect these loyalty points for coffee, for snacks, and we do fast testing of certain products. And all this, their feedback is also stored back in the database, so that we know what are the preferences of certain segments. We have control groups that we are able to test also when product design is done. Going back, so this was something that is really important for business if you want to transform, if you want to understand your customer. And what is also a product that we did is, it's important to know how to develop our network, either on recharging stations or on the petrol stations. So this is, I don't know if you see it, but I will enlarge it, because this Power BI in presentation mode, if it's embedded, doesn't work. So this was my know-how from a previous conference. So we say, okay, how many highway petrol stations? Okay. How many highway petrol? This is the entire network. We have all the petrol stations in the region in here, from the competition and ours. So we do this, as I said, it's important to an old business, because then they will tell you this is a new station opened by competition. They flag it. It's highway. It has a snack bar. It has car wash, everything. So we are able to see how strong is our network compared to competition network, and to say how many highway petrol stations do we have compared to our competition. We see that on the highway, Petrol is the strongest in the region. And since we just bought Crodox, we are even stronger now. Looking into marine. Marine is not our strongest point, because of course this is Croatia. INA is the strongest, but we will probably do some other integrations, and we still are planning, because this is a business that's growing, we will still grow this area instead maybe of some city locations, because we know what their future will be. With all this, so our business is now able to clearly see, in which way to develop the network further, and we are doing the same also with the charging stations, with the charging for electrical vehicles. For example, how many we have in cities. Also in cities, we are, compared to INA, very close. So it's, and of course, this is for the entire network. We see exactly where we are. And once we have this, then we also do pricing. So we collect prices. You know that when the market are liberalized, you are obliged to publish your prices daily. So we go to the, in some countries, we are extracting directly this information on pricing from the database of government, because it's governmental websites. Some countries are not that open yet to corporations, so we extract from the websites. We put this in data lake, and on this then we build our pricing engine. So my business analysts, my advanced team, they build a pricing engine to calculate, what is the pricing. So we have the dynamic pricing engine. This is entirely built product in my team. When of course, we know what are the locations where we are. We did the competition scanning and said, what is the competition? It's not everything that is in the city, but it's in the range of 5 kilometers in the city, because how far are you willing to drive, because the petrol is, I don't know, on third decimal, 1 cent cheaper. So we know it's 5 kilometers. On the highway, it's 40 kilometers in the same distance of driving, the same way of driving. So we did the scanning, we marked what is competition, and then we are tracking prices. And based on that, we did our pricing rules. At the moment, it's regulated, so it's all the same. But when highways will be liberated again, so now we are able to see what is the pricing strategy of competition. We know how many price clusters they have. We exactly then are able to adjust our prices, and of course to earn quite a big money out of it. And also here you see also then the elasticity. If we increase prices in the location compared to plan, you have some dashboards there that pricing managers can see. So all the sales data, all the actual data comes from data warehouse. It's all the location data, everything comes also data warehouse, because competition is now structurally put into data warehouse. But this pricing engine collects also external information. And of course, we are adding also weather, because if the weather is good, if the weekend, a holiday, there will be migration of nation through Slovenia on the seaside of Croatia, we can increase prices on highway. They will need to refuel. So this is actually a very good business case, how to monetize data.
One thing I just want to add. So Petrol is actually a Slovenian company originally. So they have all these energy trading utilities stuff, smart home in Slovenia. But Slovenia is like 2 million people, and the whole region is about 20 million people. And in the rest of the region, they're doing mostly the stations. So
also renewable energy.
Yes, some renewable energy in Croatia, but the potential with this approach, with just rolling out this services and products and businesses to the whole region is really enormous. So when this framework is defined and when strategy is defined, you can just need to roll that out and put it into action, invest, and take the leading position in the whole region in all.
So I said to enrich this, this is also rolled in Croatia, this dynamic pricing, because it doesn't matter. The market is the dimension. Yeah, you just need to change. You see, you change a market here. You have Croatia. You see that INA has 7 price clusters, and we know where we stand with them. So it's so easy. And it's not easy. It was a hard work to do it, but it's easy. Now we are adding also site-speed analytics to understand whether our pricing also inflects our capture rate. Dynamic pricing is then also planned for merchandise goods on the petrol stations. You know that this is also important part of business. There are also certain services. Then you can also change prices dynamically. You know, if there is a good weather outside, people will come and wash their cars. If there's rainy, not, you can do discounts. So it's all very important, but you need to talk to business, what their needs are. Just imagine with this power, how we can optimize our fleet for logistics, just-in-time deliveries and stuff like that. So it's enormous potential what we can do with analytics, but you need to be, as I said, one of the strategies was not just to have a technology and have sexy reports, but also to build this data-driven culture in the company. So it's probably not, I'm kind of mixture of business and IT and finance and everything, and part of the strategic board in the company. So we are somehow promoting all this and also doing these trainings for business. Because as I said, this traditional business, we didn't have anybody who would understand what dynamic pricing is in business, but I had a very good data scientist who was part of partially my skills of understanding the business, and we showed them what we could do. And now they are happy users and the business is growing. So this was all from our side. Any questions?
I think we have like 15-20 minutes for questions as we have planned initially. I hope you found this presentation and demo interesting. So please don't be shy.
Yeah.
You need large enterprise data, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think experience with these models show that sort of once you finish modeling it, it's actually already out of date.
No, it's not out of date. No.
I just wanted to ask you what your experience is with that. If it changes when you spend a lot of time reworking your large enterprise data model, or whether this is actually very constant.
It's constant. As I said, we are adding constantly, but the business is not changing overnight. We are selling oil and gas for 75 years. We will be still selling it for another 20 years. So we will just add new dimensions. We are adding charging stations inside now, electricity, but still, you know, the oil will still be the most important product for Petrol for next 5 to 6 years. Then the transition will start. And it's not also in telco when I was working, we were just adding dimensions. Business is changing. You're adding dimensions, some new facts will appear, some new attributes will appear, but the core stays. It will not just fade out. It will slowly, as I said, I had this discussion with one consultant, Ron Berger team last week. They said, yes, today when you come to petrol station, you have these handles for oil and for diesel, yeah, for fuel and for diesel, and you have 1 or 2 charging stations somewhere at the back. In 2030, you will be half-half. In 2035, you will have 1 handle for diesel and you will have all the rest will be super fast chargers. But in order to be able to do that, we need to understand the behavior, we need to see this transition, but the data model will stay. We will just add. So when we started, we had only Petrol inside and other markets that we operate. We didn't have a competition. But the idea of pricing started, we said, okay, we need to add a new dimension competition. I mean, they needed to add the same attributes that we are following for our markets, or maybe there are some others. When we bought Crodux, we saw that they have Petrol outsourced the gastro business, so this restaurant business, we outsourced it. They had it internally, and now we are insourcing it back, and we will add these attributes. We added them when we imported the data from Crodux. We extended the model slightly. It's not outdated because the business is traditional. You're not changing your business model in one day or in 1 year. It's a transition. You know, it's a transition. I mean, we will build this, but it's important to stay consistent. Because also you need to look back and say, what was happening to still, you know, for sales of petroleum, the best years were 2019, because 2020 COVID stroke, 2021 was COVID. So we are still referring to the 2019. And we need this history to look back and be consistent. So it's important this, but then you are enriching it with all the stuff that comes in. You can take, I just said, weather, holidays, it all can come in, or time series. You can collect them, put them in a lake, enrich it. But it's important to know, you know, how you performed. How will you evaluate the performance of analytical advanced models, machine learning, if you don't know whether they improve the performance or not? How will you know that your churn prediction model actually works if you're not able to compare the churn rates, the actual churn rates? So you need to have facts along with the 60 new stuff.
Maybe I can add also some stuff will never change. You will always have customers, you will always have point of sales, you will have products, they will have invoices will have line items, they will have payments, you will have loyalty cards, they will collect points, they will exchange these points for the rewards, you will have contact center. In this contact center, you will have tickets, then you will have some surveys and net promoter scores. So a lot of this stuff is very stable, but if you have like a good foundation, you can build on top of it. So I remember, so there was like back in the 90s, there was one conference, I think in Hague. It was SaaS conference, and Bill Lynn was keynote speaker. And one of the things he told, he said, so this data model, it's a foundation. So foundation is never nice. So foundation are always mud and heavy machinery, and they're very ugly. But if you don't build a strong foundation, you cannot have a beautiful house. And nobody wants to look at the foundations. And this is the foundation. And if you have good foundation, you can build on top of it whatever you want.
Yes. And what I usually compare our data warehouse to Lego blocks. You know, it's Lego blocks. It's actually, if you define all these Lego blocks, then you can move them around and play with them. But it needs to be defined. And when I discuss with people on the conferences, you know, they all hate this master data and cleaning. You know, they said it's a nitty-gritty work, it's a shit work, you know, nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to be the owner of data. You know, you just look at your company, you know, who owns certain dimensions. Somebody in IT, no, they don't. They're just responsible that the data flows in. You know, the content is on business side. The IT will just say, yeah, the data is populated, whether it's empty or has the wrong address or something, they don't care about it. So it should be business. But this is really important that you connect these two and you understand who has a need on certain side. This is a really important part. And then when you do it, yeah, it takes time. And as I said, it's like an iceberg, you know, all this sexy modeling is seen. It gives you fast results. But whether they are correct and whether they will have certain contingency, this is a question, you know. But this is a business that you will, as Darjan said, invoices, you know, revenues, customers, how many you have today, how many you have tomorrow. Intersectional business, they don't have history. So you said, 2015, I had this many customers in Ljubljana, but then the customers move around. And CRM has only current address. If you do the modeling, you will have completely wrong data if you don't have the history. So you need to have, and we always discuss with business and say, what data needs historization? What is important? Address is important to be historized, because if we report that we have how many customers we have in certain region, and we know customers are moving, we need historization. So it's really important to discuss with them to see what they might be thinking when doing with data. It's really important. Any other question? Yes.
Elaborate a little bit more scenarios where you use machine learning.
Machine learning. Yes. So we are doing, as I said, we have some energy products. So renewable energy products like distant heating. In this distant heating, when you of course, you earn your money on the saving of the customer whom you did either house renovation or heating renovation. And of course, you need to make sure that his heating and cooling is always optimized based on the outside temperature. So we implemented these machine learning models in order that they are doing this analytics, and they are then, how do you say, they are powering these meters, to set the right temperature for heating and for cooling. Okay, and the other part is trading. We are doing electricity trading. So we need to know what are the flows of the water, what is the wind, what will be the supply, and what is the right time to buy and the right time to sell. So there are quite many, and as I said, the rest will be on logistics side. We have this logistics stores we have this storage capacity for oil, and we need to buy tankers, and of course these tankers cost a lot of money. And the longer the fuel lies in these storage facilities, the quality, it loses the quality. So you need to be with such powerful predictions, what are the capture rates, how is the traffic growing. We are much able also on predicting what will be the sales for future, what we negotiate with our suppliers for all the energies that we have.
And also this pricing model.
The pricing model is itself, it's, doing elasticity calculations behind, because that we cannot be too much expensive, because then you will lose, or maybe sometimes when you have a huge stock, you can go below the price in order to sell out the stock. Because the prices will drop, or maybe the prices of, that also we earn money on the difference between the prices that we buy. If the prices of oil go up, we bought lower price, we will increase. If they go down, we need to fastly sell out what we have, because these stocks also gives us history burden. So with this, we can then optimize a lot. So, but it's important to know the business. And then my central team, they will build the models. They're the modeling part, they know. But the business needs to see the use cases. Okay, any other questions?
Question about reverse detail and high touch is already we're using. Can you tell us a bit about what context you're using?
Which?
High touch. Reverse detail.
Okay, let me see, where was this? In architecture, huh? Mm-hmm.
Right.
Top right. Reverse detail and high touch. I think this is used. I would not be able to tell you. This is. I should ask my architect. I know. It's to push back the data to the source systems. Yes. High touch, I think, is used to push the data back to Salesforce, because when we are doing certain segmentations, we need to push the segmentation back to Salesforce. So this is a special tool that pushes then data from cloud to cloud back to Salesforce. We are using it for campaigning. We are using it for certain sales data for the B2B sales that we do certain segmentations, and certain sales data, of course, because the key accounts when are out on the field, they need to know what the margin of customers, what discounts they can give, and we push this data back to Salesforce. And reverse ETL, I think it's for loading to other cloud applications. This is to push back data to the source systems, because it's a two-way communication. To collect from Salesforce, we use Fivetrain, because it gives us a possibility also to see the data, the replica of Salesforce in almost real time. Especially it's good for campaigning, because you do marketing cloud and you have all this data in like replica of Salesforce. So we use Fivetrain in order, we every 5 hours through Fivetrain, we collect the data from Salesforce and put it to data warehouse. So the marketing team, they don't wait for data till tomorrow, but they have near real-time data, and this Fivetrain has this possibility to connect cloud to cloud applications. Okay. Any other question? Yes.
Is your slide about the voucher codes?
Voucher codes.
Really like a presentation, but when I'm attending a slot from a petrol company at this side of the days, I would that's lift cost.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it is a tough times today. Yeah? As I said, tough times. Regulations strike us. We don't see how long it will stay. On highways, no, highways been liberated now, so it's of course, as I said. But what is a nice combination that we did is we combined. That, of course, we still know that majority of customers they are collecting these loyalty points through refueling, and they can redeem these points for discounts on electricity. And this is going perfectly. Everybody needs electricity and everybody needs to refuel. So if you are a Petrol loyalty customer, then you collect points and then you can redeem these points for discounts from 10 to 25% lower electricity. And this is going perfect. So we don't need door-to-door sales. We just published that we have another promotion out for existing customers, and this is going great. Unfortunately, also the price really goes up now, so we need to be innovative in every area. It's tough times for Petrol. Yeah, business is changing, and even more important is to know, the data about customers and how we are actually performing, what we can do, how we can combine our services.